Welcome to this episode on how the web works. This is the third step in our HTML and CSS journey. Today, we'll explore how computers and servers communicate with the client-server architecture and how HTML appears in your browser. As always, you can refer back to the website linked below to review or take notes anytime you want. Let's start by imagining this is your computer. And this is the YouTube server. How do you see websites like YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram on your screen? Websites are hosted on the web and they rely on HTML and CSS to display content. How does this happen? Well, in order to understand this, imagine that your computer, which is called the client, sends a request to a server, and server sends back a response. This setup is called client-server architecture. Here, the client is your computer requesting data. The server, like YouTube's server, holds the data and sends back what you ask for. The next question here is, how do these requests and responses actually happen? Well, they use a protocol called HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's the language clients and servers use to communicate, and you can see it's a transfer protocol for hypertext. It's not just hypertext or HTML, it is used for other resources as well. Now, I want you to head over to google.com. You can pick other websites if you want to, but Google is simple and familiar. Open the browser's DevTools, and if you haven't used this before, check out the previous section where we covered the Elements tab for HTML and CSS in the Developer Tools. In DevTools, go to the Network tab. Reload the page with the Network tab open. You'll see many items appear here. Each one represents an HTTP request sent from your computer to Google's server and all the responses sent back. If you click on any request, you can see its details. Requests can be for different types of resources like images, scripts, fonts, or CSS files. You see information like the size of the resource, how long it took to load, and the status code. For example, 200 means OK or success. Status codes are important in web development, but for HTML and CSS, we don't need to worry much about them now. At the top of the Network tab, you can filter requests by type. For example, if we select CSS, we can see only CSS requests. This shows how your browser requests style sheets from the server, which it then uses to style the web page. If you click on CSS request, you can see general info about it along with the request headers and response headers. Headers carry important metadata for communication, but we won't dive into that just yet. You can also preview the actual CSS code returned by the server if you go to the Preview tab, or just see the raw response in the Response tab. Besides CSS, there are requests for fonts, images, and the HTML itself. If you click on an image request, like the channel logo that we can see here, you can preview the image loaded on the page. And if you inspect the HTML request, clicking it will show the HTML document that builds the web page. Now, to sum up, the web works through the client-server model. Browser, which is the client, sends HTTP requests to the server. Servers respond with HTML, CSS, images, and other resources. Browser assembles these resources and renders the web page you see. And you can observe the whole process live in the browser's developer tools under the Network tab. In the next section, we will dive back into HTML and explore the basic structure of it.